Hello, dear TV friend. Welcome to another weekly edition of our program, 7 Days in Focus. That program in which we bring to you the happenings of the week, some major news stories which were of focus during the week. And for today, I am Father Roderick Yangsi, and I'm going to be your host for this program. And in the studio tonight, we have a host of people that we are going to be commenting on the news stories this night. On the first place, I'm going to be welcoming Father Alphonse Wongibe, the parochial vicar of St. Charles Luanga Parish, Moliko. Father Alphonse Wongibe, you are very much welcome tonight.
Yes, thank you so much, Father Rodriyansi. Good evening to you viewers, and we are happy tonight because they ordained 7 people to join the rank of the diaconate in the particular church of Boya. So it is a wonderful evening for me, where they are the halls of those who were newly ordained, and I think it was very, very, very significant in our lives. Me as a person, seeing young ones that are coming into the fold, it was very, very inspiring for me as a person, and I'm happy to be here, and I say congratulations to them.
Okay, Father, we're going to be talking more about that, but when you saw this young man, what was your impression some 3 years back or 4 years back now? Or yeah, about your own diaconal ordination? Did it recall to you some memories back?
Yes, anyway, I saw them on TV because I was not there in person since we were writing exams. You yourself, you were by my left. We were all writing exams today. Maybe perhaps after that you rushed there. Since for me, I did not begin mass. I never saw any need to go there since I watched at the TV. It was already ordination right.
They said you were at their house.
Okay, for the whole event. Okay, no, the mystery is for the mass. The hall is just entertainment. We go for parties, we go for wedding anniversaries, we go for other receptions. So for that is normal.
Yes,
so
but there's a peculiarity when it comes to the to ordination, receptions, and maybe marriages. There's always a little difference that may come in.
Anyway, let me not dilute the mystery, because I know that just eating and drinking and thanking people for coming. The real mystery is in church, as per me. Yeah. So for there, I did not feel anything, but it was for mass, as was the case for the newly ordained, for the priesthood. I felt belonging because it drove me back when I was ordained as a priest. But the reception for me...
But we're going to be discussing more about that again, Father. But dear viewers, in the studio today, we have also some other new faces maybe that have never been here before. We're going to hear from them all the way from the Archdiocese of Bamenda, Father Augustine Awimo. You are very much welcome, Father.
Thank you very much, Reverend Father Roderick Yangsi. I'm Father Augustine Awemo, a priest serving in the Archdiocese of Bamenda, and currently I'm the parochial vicar of St. Teresa of the Child Jesus Parish, Isu. Isu, yes.
Wow.
Well, I've been transferred as a teacher in Sacred Heart College, Mancon. So being here today is a pleasure for me. You know, I've been watching DMRA TV for 3 years now, and I've never been here. And so it's really a great pleasure for me to participate in a program like this. And
yes, I'm sure you're Christians right away in Isu are happy seeing you on TV this evening, all the way from even those in Bambili, I'm sure they're happy seeing you, and
obviously
you have a huge package for us tonight.
Obviously.
Dear TV friends, too in the studio we have another priest again from the Archdiocese of Bamenda. We're really blessed this evening. Father Christian Shanui. Father, you're very much welcome.
Thank you very much, Father Roderick. I must say that I'm really overwhelmed with joy to be in the studio today and to participate in this program. As you said, I'm a priest for the Archdiocese of Bamenda. For the past 2 years, I've been serving in St. Charles Borromeo's Parish, Fonantui. Yes. So the recent transfers, I've been sent to as a chaplain. I'm sent as a chaplain to Holy Rosary College in Nakum.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm also assisting at the parish. So it's the first time for me to be here. The famous DMRA TV. I've been watching so many programs over this channel. I must say it's a pleasure for me to be part of this program today.
Thank you very much, Father Christian. Do you follow us from Fanantui? Do you follow DMRA TV from Fanantui?
Of course.
Wow, and the parishioners there to follow.
Of course.
So this night, I'm sure they'll be viewing you from DMRA TV, and you have a lot to tell them. So
I hope so.
yes,
I don't
thank
know.
you, dear TV friends. So this is our guest tonight on this program, 7 Days in Focus, and we're going to take you on a number of stories tonight. The first story immediately we dive at is Know Your Faith, the weekly catechetical program of the bishop, in which this last Monday, Father Martin here sat in for the bishop, and he spoke extensively on the pastoral plan. Father Benjamin was part of that, and he brought for us this report.
The Vatican II document on the sacred liturgy, Sacrosanctum Concilium, notes that in the celebration of the Holy Mass, the Christian faithful are called upon to be active participants and not just passive spectators. Flowing from this, it has always been the wish of the prelates of the Church to involve the laity in the life and mission of the Church. The ecclesiastical province of Bamenda is not left out in all these. In today's weekly catechetical session of Know Your Faith, Father Martin J., fitting in the shoes of the chief shepherd of Boya, Bishop Michael Bibi, drilled the Christian faithful of St. Anthony of Padua Parish, Boya Town, and DMR TV's audience on an overview of the provincial pastoral plan of the ecclesiastical province of Bamenda. This plan was the brainchild of the then Archbishop Paul Vetzekov and Bishop Pius Awa of blessed memory, who, after attending a synod of bishops, saw the need of a pastoral plan. It was later promulgated in 1999, having as motto, "This is something which concerns all." Father Martin then elaborated on the agents of evangelization as someone or something acting on behalf of another.
Plan with some political considerations. This pastoral plan is divided into two main parts, or you can say sessions. Two main sessions. And the first session has to do with the agents of evangelization. Now, the first session will deal with agents. I want us to understand and look at the word agent. What agent means? Typically, an agent means someone or something that acts on behalf of another. Someone or something that acts on behalf of another. And usually, that somebody or something which acts on behalf of another acts with some authority, because it can either be delegated or you can act on its own capacity. So an agent is someone or something who acts on behalf of another with much authority to make decisions or to take actions. One look at the division of the structure with regard to the pastoral plan. And we said it is divided into two main parts. The first part has to do with the agents of evangelization. So we are looking at what the agents of evangelization are. And subsequently, the agents of bishop, we shall be looking now, and specifically these agents and what is expected of them. So we said that agent is typically someone or something.
Father Martin also carefully highlighted the indispensable role of the institutions who act as agents of the pastoral plan.
Under agents of evangelization, other people persons will now look at institutions, and the first is the family, which I know is the domestic group. And we see the gradation. From the families, we come to small Christian communities. From the families in the home, we go down to a community quarter. The locality get what we call small Christian communities. So we get these small Christian communities, as we call them. And these small Christian communities now are made up of different families which belong. So we see the essence of small Christian communities. We noted that they said this is involving everybody. Nobody should be left indifferent. Everybody should get on board. So small Christian communities, but small Christian communities, we have mission stations. So we are having cases where they are saying it is difficult because now people have their infant baptized by infant you need to pass through a gospel sharing, which are within the small Christian communities. And then from the small Christian communities, the people is now to the mission station, the mission station people to the parish, and then you can have a child baptized. And to some who don't want to follow that or value and that party, they find it difficult, and it's like they find it difficult to apply it. It's supposed to be that for that or the pastoral plan. So these are all practices. From the families to small Christian communities, of course we have gospel sharing within the small Christian communities. We have mission stations, and then we have the parishes. And these parishes now a team and a group of
The prelates of the ecclesiastical province call on all to leave the pastoral plan and make it part and parcel of their respective Christian communities.
Thank you, Father Benjamin Fon, on that wonderful report. Father Christian, it's often said, most newsletters where you read it, it's always said it is optional to belong to any group in church, but compulsory to an SCC. Yeah, so what is your take about that? How practical is that in your own area where you come from, in Fanantwi?
Thank you, Father Roderick. I must admit that this is a very practical topic and question that you have asked me. And I would like to share that practicality from my parish, where I've been for the past 2 years, as far as the SCC is concerned. I've taken it as a duty to move around the SCCs. Going in my place, there in Fanantwi, we have SCCs every morning. So most often, I think as a duty, move around the SCCs to see how they are doing. And I want to say that, first of all, it's very encouraging. Though it cannot be 100% successful, I want to say that it's very encouraging. When you move to any SCC, you must see some persons there. Which means that most of the persons in a ecclesiastical province have understood what the pastoral plan is all about, especially when it comes to the SCC. I mean, most of them making the efforts. So when we go there, that's an opportunity for us to share the gospel, to share the word of God. And most of them are making these efforts. So I want to say, in our archdiocese, and especially in my parish, Fanantwi Parish, most of them are making efforts. Because when I move around, you must see at least some persons who turn out to attend and to participate in this activity.
Well, Father Christian, I'm really impressed to hear that, because I don't think it's really practical in every other place, because maybe my own place. Maybe let me hear from you, Father Alphonse. Father Christian is sharing from a purely maybe a rural kind of setup, and maybe the day to matters, because if you put it on a Monday, and where this crisis is still very good, it's still very it's still active.
Practical.
Yes, it's still. Yeah, you notice that many people attend because maybe they don't go out, they don't go to their farm. What is the reality in a town setup like your parish in the heart of Moliko about SCCs, where everybody is kind of busy and worked up?
Regarding the town setup, I will say it does not just depend on the days. With the cosmopolitan nature of cities now, SCC is somehow relegated to the background. I'm not saying it's happening in Moliko Parish. I will come there. The problem is, whether you put it on Monday is no longer seen as resting days. In a typically town setup, people go to work. And then when you put it at those days, they come back, they are tired, and they rarely have the opportunity to come, which is different from a rural setup. So what I say is, those who are committed and know the value of participating in church in a neighborhood SCC, they still struggle to come, as is happening there in Chaslonga Parish, Bokwango, and the rest. But it cannot be so engaging as such per se, wanting the whole people to follow. Perhaps it may take time. They say even the work of ecumenists, they say the work of the Holy Spirit. That someday it may happen. That's what I say for SCC too. So that someday it may happen for town setups, but it's not as engaging, because Monday is no longer I will not say it's no longer ghost town, it's ghost town, but people are engaged in other things and not just saying that, okay, I'll just sit in the house and come for SCC. So it's good to dialogue with the Christian community and see which other day, apart from that Monday even, because that day people become more tired on that day than normal days even, because the other they have Jangi, they have country meeting, they have this school meeting and the rest in town setups, not in the rural setup. So it's no more as it used to be when this crisis started, because people are engaged with other things. It's just my prayer and wish, as we'll be celebrating the 25th anniversary this year in Bishop Rogai, that perhaps with the seminars and the talks that will be given for those few days there, it may help people to be engaged again, to see how towns can equally become like villages. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Alphonse. Moving on to our next story tonight, Bishop Michael Bibi has been exhorted to work and live to the expectation of the one who called him. Christians of Our Lady of Consolation Church of the Diocese of Charlotte celebrated the gifts of priesthood for 25 years for His Lordship Michael Bibi. And during the celebration, which was held on Sunday the 22nd of June, Father Peter Nook called on the bishop to live and to work to the expectation of the one who called him and not man. Matilda Bisson on this report.
June 22nd, which marked the solemnity of the body and blood of Christ in the Universal Church, coincided with an event to celebrate the 25th priestly anniversary of Bishop Michael Bibi at Our Lady of Consolation Church, Diocese of Charlotte. Organized by the Christians of the parish, where some priests from the Diocese of Boya serve as fidei donum, the Christians unusually turned out in their numbers to support one of theirs. Father Peter Nook counted himself blessed to do one of such activities he considered unusual at such occasions, to have preached at the Mass. He described Bishop Bibi as a man of all seasons, whom from his primary education to his ordination as a priest and the different administrative functions held from priesthood through bishopric prepared him for the office he currently holds as Bishop of Boya Diocese.
A jubilee is also a moment of stock-taking. Bishop Bibi attended a Presbyterian school, a Catholic school, and a private school. In his priestly ministry, he worked in rural and urban parishes. More so, he has been a student and a teacher. He has controlled diocesan finances. As a bishop, he has been an auxiliary bishop, an apostolic administrator, and now a diocesan bishop.
He further encouraged the bishop that in challenging moments, he should concentrate on the Lord who enriches his servants. Also, he called on his bishop that amidst criticisms, he should continue to live and work to the expectation of the Lord of the harvest who called him.
Continue to be the intercessor to the many hungry people in the world, and the Diocese of Boya in particular, to your priests and to your lady. Continue to be their high priest and shepherd, who always sees their needs and acts accordingly.
Bishop Michael Bibi, at the close of the Mass, expressed heartfelt gratitude for the continual support the people of the Diocese of Charlotte accord him and his priests and all who showed up for the celebration.
I want to use this opportunity to render sincere appreciation to God in the first place, and to this community where priests from the Diocese of Boya are serving as fidei donum priests in the Diocese of Charlotte, that you took the initiative to ask when you heard I was coming here that you want to have an opportunity to celebrate the silver jubilee of my priestly ordination. I know there have been lots of celebrations, graduations, weddings, and other celebrations, but we have kept it around the globe in order to be present here for this Eucharistic celebration of Thanksgiving. I want to sincerely thank my brother priests who are here, to thank Father Peter Nook, the Bishop's delegate to Charlotte, for the gracious words that he addressed to us, and to thank all of us who are present here today.
Having lived 25 years of his priesthood, it is certain Bishop Michael has experienced his fair share of the victimhood of Christ. As he journeys on for the next years of his ministry, he is encouraged to recall and recite the second part of Jesus' prayer in Gethsemane, not what he wills, but what God wants. The event proper is scheduled for the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral Moliko on July 25th, 2025.
The Chief Shepherd of Boya Diocese, His Lordship Michael Bibi, while on a pastoral visit to priests from the Diocese of Boya serving in the USA, presided at a Thanksgiving Mass for the investiture of Monsignor John Chamda, one of the 6 monsignors appointed by the late Pope Francis on the request of Bishop Michael Bibi. The other 5 monsignors were dressed by Bishop Michael Bibi on the 14th of May at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral, Moliko Boya, while Monsignor Chamda was in the Diocese of Charlotte, USA as a fidei donum and could not be present.
They were all 6 of them: Monsignor Martin Muma, Monsignor Sebastian Fonsa, Monsignor Jude Thaddeus Mbi, Monsignor Edward Galame, Monsignor Moses Tazo, and Monsignor John Chamda. Because at that time, Monsignor John Chamda had traveled to the Diocese of Charlotte as a fidei donum priest, he could not be present on the 14th of May at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral in Moliko Boya. And I want to use this opportunity to render immense gratitude to Bishop Michael for willingly accepting that I should be able to preside at this Eucharistic celebration.
The prelate seized the opportunity to render gratitude to God for the life of Reverend Monsignor John Chamda, for his services to the people of God, his dedication, regardless of the challenges faced in the course of his priestly ministry.
When we see the number of years that Monsignor John Chamda has put in the service of God's people as a priest, we are inspired by his faith, his lifestyle, his pastoral zeal, and his consistent dedication to the service of the people of God in the Diocese of Boya. Monsignor John Chamda has persevered for a good number of years through all the difficulties that he may have faced in his priestly ministry. He never gave up his faith. He continued to remain consistent and ready to serve the church in the Diocese of Boya and to make sure that he shares with his brother priests so that they too can continue to witness to the gospel message. His longevity in the service of God's people is a testimony of God's blessings in his life. It is also an inspiration to us to learn from him and also persevere in our struggles and challenges that we may be having in life.
The proper teacher, while carrying out this symbolic investiture rite, reiterates the significance and meaning of the Monsignor title.
The title of Monsignor is an honorary title given by the Holy Father to some priest in the Catholic Church as part of a papal honor recognizing the life of dedicated service of the priest. Priests who are given papal honors and thus named monsignors are considered to be members of the papal household, and their names are listed in the Annuario Pontificio. It is a title of address, not an appointment like that of a bishop or a cardinal. However, monsignors are often closer to the bishop.
The chief shepherd also rendered immense gratitude to the Christian community from Boya Diocese, now under the Diocese of Charlotte, to keep supporting and praying for Monsignor John Chamda and the Church in the United States of America.
And that report brings us back to discuss again a little bit. I don't know if Father Wimo, you have been in ISU, you work in ISU, and I remember the bishop once telling us he worked sometime in ISU. I don't know if while in ISU you had some you heard anything about his works there in ISU.
Yeah, Father Roderick Yangsi, I think even before delving into my experience of getting the name of Bishop Michael Bibi in ISU, even growing up as a young altar server,
Okay.
and as a Christian in the Archdiocese of Bamenda, I've heard a lot about Bishop Michael. I've experienced him as a priest, as a teacher in St. Thomas Aquinas Major Seminary, and even when he went to England and came back with his studies in catechesis with the Maryvale Institute, how he journeyed with catechesis, making the catechists to realize that they have a role and they have a mission in the church. And I think his priesthood, I would describe it as that personality that has a ground root with the people. He loves to meet the people in the way they are. And that captures what I've heard about him in St. Teresa of the Child Jesus Parish, ISU.
Wow.
When you hear about the people in ISU talk about him today, they talk about him like somebody they experienced personally. They had a personal touch with him. They heard his voice. They touched him. And he came to them. And so you have very far off outstations.
Wow.
I can be calling names like Monkup that you don't know about.
and I'm sure he used to trek to all those places.
Areas that he went to.
Yeah.
When he was a bishop, he went there and he went down there, gave confirmation.
Already as the auxiliary bishop.
Even he went there as a priest and even went there as a bishop.
Sure.
So the people really expressed that fact that he went there as a priest when he was serving there, and even after he came back as a bishop, he still went to those outstations. A bishop crossing the river on a boat just to go and meet the people.
Wow.
And you know how that touch can give a mark in the life of the people.
Wow.
So I think his priestly life is something that really it gives an identity to the people.
Right.
Because the Christians are people that they need the personal touch of the people. You know what Pope Francis talks about smelling like the sheep.
Evangelic Gazio.
Yeah. So he's trying. Let me say he's putting that into practice. And that's what, like when I was writing my theology thesis on the sacredness of the priesthood on St. John Chrysostom the Sacerdotio, in the very first line of my introduction, I mentioned the words of Pope John Paul II in the priesthood as a gift and mystery. And what I said in the opening line, what Pope John Paul II said, he said, for every priest and in every age, the greatest task is each day for a priest to discover his priestly today in the today of Christ.
Good one there.
And so you are taking up the priestly task as making Christ relevant to the people. I know I'm a priest just for 2 years, and I don't know much from the experiential point of view. And I know Bishop Michael Bibi, he has lived that priesthood for 25 years.
25 years.
And if I am called to say anything, it's just this phrase I will say, that he is a bishop, and today he should make his priestly today to be a discovery of the Christ in his everyday daily experience.
Wow, wonderful one, Father. As a representative of Christians from ISU, what are your good 25 years wishes for the Bishop Mike on behalf of the Christians of ISU?
On behalf of the Christians of ISU, I will be telling Bishop Michael Bibi that he should enjoy his ministry, that the people love him, and he should live every day discovering that call he experienced right from his childhood.
Oh. Thank you very much, Father Awimo, and we say happy anniversary to our Bishop Michael Bibi. If that you may continue to do your work and continue to be the example that you have always been, and you have shown many people who keep on looking up to you. Let us move on to our next story. We are going to be talking about the diaconate ordinations, but we are going to be taking you, dear viewers, to the prelude, the practice sessions of yesterday, which came up and in preparation for the diaconate ordinations which took place today. Details in this report thereon.
It is the eve of the diaconate ordination of 7 acolytes: Clifford Zongche, Cyril Nke Fogu, Victor Swili Banseka, Serge Ngasa, Evans Joabe, Evaristos Mokong, and Carl John Keeley. These 7 acolytes will on Saturday, June 28, 2025, ordained deacons by the Chief Shepherd, His Lordship Michael Bibi. Prior to the event that will hold at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral, Moliko Boya, starting 9 a.m., the Diocesan Master of Ceremony, Reverend Father A.Pierre Emmanuel, greeted the acolytes during a practice session with the objective of keeping them abreast on the ordination rite and the Mass in general.
You promise respect and obedience to me and my successor, I do. The God who has begun the good work in you, bring it to fulfillment. Do you resolve to discharge the office of deacon with humble charity in order to assist the priestly order and to benefit the Christian people? I do.
The Christian community is also present and took some lessons from Reverend Father Epie on how the ordination mass will look like and what is expected of them in the course of the ordination mass.
Of the diaconate, then we'll answer with Then after that one, we clap to thank be to God, and then we clap to that time. We're so glad to see people on video.
Tico Dinnery Choir leads the liturgy and has burnt the midnight oil to give the Mass the beauty and flair it deserves. After the session that lasted few hours, the 7 candidates then moved to the Bishop's Chapel at the small Sopo Cathedral for the admission into candidacy mass.
Thank you for that report. And that was the practice session of yesterday in preparation for this ordination that took place today. Father Christian, you're part of the ordination ceremony today. So, being from the practice session and what happened today, how was the ordination today?
Thank you, Father Rogic. I want to say that firstly, I must count myself as very fortunate to attend this ordination ceremony today. My first impression was that it was very solemn.
Wow.
Everything went on like it was very solemn.
Yes,
Yeah, that was my first impression. And secondly, I want to say that the diaconal ordination of today was an opportunity for me to reflect about my life. Like when the ordination rites was going on, I was asking myself, from the question, from what the bishop was asking the candidates and their responses, it gave me the opportunity for me to reflect upon my life. Like, you know, the deacon he's supposed to preach the word, he's supposed to live it out, and he's supposed to practice it. So from all this, that gave me the opportunity for me to reflect upon my life. From when I was ordained 3 years ago, 2002 to now. So it gave me the opportunity for me to reflect how much, from the time I was ordained, how much I'm able to be faithful to the promises that I made. So every ordination is an opportunity for me to reflect on how much I'm faithful to the vows
you have been living. Father Augustine, you see from the practice sessions, relating to the ordinations in Bamenda, you have always had, you also have here ordinations upcoming. You see the Kali liturgy is very unique. Anywhere you go, the Kali liturgy is unique and sacrosanct. So what was the impression about the ordination? Given, I don't know, last year you were here for the ordination too.
Yeah, I think for the
okay, you came last year for the priestly ordination. Yeah. So about today, let's talk about today, about the uniqueness of this liturgy.
Concerning the uniqueness of the liturgy, I think Buea Diocese is actually striving for perfection. Right. Because the liturgy in itself is the worship of the people together, worshiping God. And I would like to speak from the perspective of music, sacred music.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. When you see from the practice session, the deanery that was to handle the liturgy, it shows that they took it personal, Tico Deanery. And I think they need an applause for that. Mm-hmm. They did so very well. And you know, some time back when we were putting something on the searchlight with regard to liturgical music, the music in church is meant to draw the people to worship God. The liturgy is meant to be joyful, to help the people to pray very well. And I think when you define sacred music according to the sacred tradition, Sacred Congregation of Rites, in its introduction to music and liturgy, Musicam Sacram, is going to explain that in number 4 of that document, is going to say that sacred music is understood as that which is being created for the celebration of divine worship, is endowed with a certain holy sincerity in its form, drawn from the perspective that the various songs chosen for the various parts of the Mass should draw the people to insert themselves and to participate in the liturgy. And from my own personal point of view, it may not be 100%, but I think Tico Deanery did very well. The choices of songs, it was something that the people could accommodate and participate in the liturgy. And if you could do a one-on-one count, the people will express the fact that they prayed in the liturgy.
Thank you. In a few minutes from now, we're going to be replaying the Mass of today. Our viewers are going to have the opportunity to watch the Mass. And as you said, when the liturgy was going, I was expecting that maybe during communion they'll come up and sing one of their powerful songs to say this is their song that I prepared. But you saw they allowed everybody to sing very simple, prayerful hymns from the beginning to the end, and everybody was part and parcel of that liturgy. So from Father Augustine Awimo, a visiting priest, he said kudos to the
Tico
Deanery. Father Alphonse, on your own part, 7 new priests, 7 new deacons in the diocese joining to work with us in the diocese. So what is the appreciation of that? Of 7 new
deacons. Anyway, it says 7 new deacons working with us in the diocese. I would say just 3 working with us in the diocese. Okay. Few work for 1 month, apostle holiday, then they're back to school. just few, the three will be here for diaconal.
In the mass of 2, they were incarcinated to the diocese.
True. Yes, I'm not refusing.
In subsequent time, they're going to work with us
okay,
in the
fine.
diocese.
Okay, then I want us to be clear with that, because we know that we're working with 3 here. The rest will go back to school that are still students.
Okay.
So I think it's a plus to the farm, which is the people of God here in Boya, and every bishop is happy to ordain candidates to join, to help him. They call it la diaconie du service. That's kind of 1008. That, and 1009 talks about priests, 1008 talks about deacons that are there to help first the bishop, but that's why he's very happy, they're always beside him. And then subsequently the presbyters, the priests, to exercise the ministry of the word and reaching out to sick persons, coming of the sick, and what have you. But yesterday I was here on board for join, and my last word to them, these 7 deacons that have been ordained today, which I said yesterday as deacons elect today, being deacons, is this: those same words that the bishop tells them while handing the book of the gospel to them. For me, if they follow that, I think the ministry will be good. That receive the book of the gospel, whose hearer you have become, believe what you read, teach what you believe, and practice what you teach. If they go with this modus vivendi in the word of Father Jesse Kamcho of Kumbadaisi, I think everything will work. Not that there will not be challenges, but I think they will toe the line of the diaconate. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Alphonse. And what notice that you worked also, you did your diaconal
year. I did theology in the seminary in Douala, so I did diaconal year in Sekra Parish, Bomaka.
Okay, so those are your advice. Those are words of advice to these new deacons. So we say congratulations to the Diocese of Boya in a whole, because these new deacons are for the diocese. And so we say we are happy to receive 7 new deacons, 7 new servants to work with us and for us. And subsequently, we are going to know where they're going to work, and others will go back to school. So taking you to our last story tonight, we are going to be talking about Father Matthias Bell, a Catholic priest from the Diocese of Edea, who was appointed in May by the President of the Republic of Cameroon to ELECAM's board, and he has resumed his new function. This was as he takes the oath of office at the High Court in Yaoundé, promising to uphold the dignity of that office. Aloysius Likier with details in that report.
Taking the oath at the Yaoundé Central Administrative Court in the presence of judges, elections, Cameroon members, as well as brother priests and Christians, Reverend Father Abbé Matthias from the Diocese of Edea, who through a presidential decree was appointed to the ELECAM's board on May 19, 2025, promised to uphold the office with dignity and respect all the laid down constitutional norms.
Mr. President, honorable members of the Constitutional Council, I swear to exercise my functions with thorough impartiality in respect of the Constitution and the laws, and keep the secrets of deliberations and votes, not to take any public position, not to give any consultations on questions related to the competence of Elections Cameroon.
Election Cameroon. Reverend Father Abbé Matthias Bell, holding this strategic position in a time when the nation is preparing to organize the presidential elections, gives many the hope of impartiality and morality with the strict application and respect of the laws put in place in organizing elections in the country. Reverend Barrister Stephen Berinoy, priest of the Diocese of Boya, says the president appointing a priest into the ELECAM body is giving a listening ear to the bishops of Cameroon as far as the organization of elections in the country are done.
The appointment of Reverend Father Bell Matthias Stefan, who is a priest of the Diocese of Edea, to be part of the ELECAM's board in Cameroon, I think is very positive. He was appointed by the President of the Republic, and appointing a spiritual leader who is coming in, it is presumed that the priest will bring in those principles of fairness, transparency, justice, and is going to be neutral as far as the organization of the elections in Cameroon are concerned. Positively, I think it's good. I don't know if there has been any religious leader in this board, but even if there have been any,
I think that the priest is coming for the first time. And appointing a priest, I want to presume that the president has also taken note of the various observations of the bishops of Cameroon as far as the organization of the elections are concerned in the country, as far as the choice of a candidate is concerned.
Father Abbé Matthias Bell, after taking the oath, appreciates all who since his appointment by the head of state have been praying and supporting him.
Toi qui dans tes desseins insondables as choisi ce jour pour que ton humble serviteur puisse prêter serment devant la nation pour son engagement en faveur des élections transparentes, apaisées et équitables pour le bien de tout le peuple camerounais.
As he takes the oath of service, many are wishing for, while others are observing to see a change in the ways elections in the country are organized.
Thank you, Aloysius Likie, for that report. And that report is bringing us to the end of our program this evening. But before we take leave of you, dear TV friend, I would like that we may just say a word on this particular news item, Father Alphonse, bringing a priest into Elekam. We have never heard of it before. So is it a positive or is it a negative? What's the impression about that?
Anyway, thank you. Anyway, for my interactions with other persons in society, in politics, social life, and religious sphere, I learned that in the past, but it has been distant. Okay. There was somebody also in Elekam like that in religious circles, so it's not strange. Okay. That's what I learned. And for me, as a person, before becoming a priest, we are citizens of a nation. And with Pope Leo XIII's encyclical, Papal Encyclical Rerum Novarum 1891, it brings out the relationship between the church and politics. And it has developed with time. So much so that, yes, we cannot leave church without participating or playing our key role as citizens of that particular nation. I think bringing that figure during the person who taught us social teachings of the church in the Archdiocese of Douala, Le Theologa, Paul Seats, that the major seminary in Douala says, any nation without ethical or moral values is suicidal. I think this is a moral arm. It's a religious arm there to bring a light into the system, which for me it is praiseworthy, because therein what will be his role? Not politics, but putting a blend, and that blend will come for him to do what the social teachings of the church tells us regarding politics and the church, bringing out the 6 dimensions, although Pope Francis added the 7th principles of the social teachings of the church. 1, fostering the dignity of the human person, the common good, universal destination of goods, subsidiarity, solidarity, and preferential treatment of the poor. What Pope Francis added before his departure has to also cater for the common home, which is the environment. That is his role there, which for me it is praiseworthy, because those in politics may not know that I need to work for the common good, may not know I need to work for preferential treatments of the poor, or universal destination of all good, or subsidiarity, or solidarity, and what have you. So for me it is a plus, and I don't see it as strange, although it has bring that out what is happening from other persons, that l'Église catholique là vraiment ça part où. No, for me it is a moral arm that is entering there, which at least if things are not best, it will be better. That is my own appraisal of that, and to praise him for accepting that, because appointment comes from the presidency, from the president himself, not from any minister also, which indeed I've seen in him somebody who can better help our system to grow. And we think with 2025 elections, I'm not saying the past was not good. I've never voted anyway. It's true that I'm not acting as a citizen, but this year I will vote, because when my parish priest father Ernest de Bangonjo, when I registered there, because I'm not, as a tender or as a kid, I was not so much versed with these things. But learning about the social teaching of the church, we need to blame them. We are first and foremost citizens of a nation before becoming religious, Buddhist, Islam, or what have you.
But Father, I want to pull you a little bit long. Don't you see that if these elections go and maybe citizens feel there was no justice in those elections? Don't you feel the presence of the priest in this circle, it's more like dragging the name of the church down?
No, I don't see it as dragging the name of the church down. We talk about Christians' feelings are nothing. Feelings comes and go. We talk about objectivity and truth here. Okay. And objectivity and truth goes way beyond feeling. You may feel something which is not the case. What I think is what I feel that is happening does not mean it's necessarily happening. Have I fact checked what is happening? No. You know, we are in journalism together. We wrote a course today about fact checking. Even what I think is this: for me, they say 2 will always be better than 1. Because if you have 1 on 20, you have 2 in 20, the person who has 2 is better than 1. Which means, for me, the presence of this cleric or this prelate, for me, I see it as a 2 on 20 rather than a 1 or a 0. Which means a contribution, forgetting about the feelings or sensation of persons.
But you know you cannot forget about the feelings, because the way human beings are, most people act on their feelings, on their emotions. So we're talking about elections, which is so pertinent at this time. At this time, Cameroonians are so emotional about the upcoming elections, and so bringing a priest like the moral arm in this and at the end of the day, the civilians feel there was no justice in it. You know, they always look at the priest. They always look at the priest, the presence of the priest. They'll say, you will not say it's a priest, they'll say the Catholic Church.
Okay, anyway, you still go back to feelings. Remember me, I don't judge feelings as the things that are objective per se. Because I may feel feelings are subjective, it's subjective or relative. I may feel this way about this person, but that's not how that person is. I may feel this way about this priest or about this nation, but that's not how the nation is. That's my problem about feelings or sensation. Is it what is in and by itself, objectivity and truth? That's why I say I don't go about feelings. What are everybody, 9 persons are sensational and just 1 is reasonable, acting with logic and truthfulness and objectivity. It does not mean that the 9 persons are correct. No. Truth has no 2 faces, as Father Florida will say. Truth has just 1 version, not 2. And for me, rather than having nobody, it's better to have 1, because 2 or 1 is always better than 0. For me, in the past years, this is 42 or 43 years that the head of state and other people have been there, and the same feelings have been there. No, for the one, no, but anyway, from my investigation and interaction with people, they said it's not the first time. But now for some time, they said the same feelings have been there, that well, this is not fair, and the rest is there's not objective, there's not truth there. Then let's give this year a try to see, because this is the moral arm of the church. Who comes there to follow the social teachings of the church, which Pope Leo XIII started, and I think Pope Leo XIV. That's why he chose that name. It's equally going in the same line. That is my own version. Let's keep praying that we have free and fair elections 2025.
Father Alphonse says, let us give it a try. And I think the bishops in their pastoral letter encourage Cameroonians to register for elections.
Yes, it's our duty.
It's our duty as civilians to vote. I don't know, Father Christian, have you registered for elections? So, yeah.
I've registered.
Father Alphonse says you have registered. I don't know about you.
I'm still thinking about it.
Okay, you're still thinking about registering. What about you, Father Augustine? Have you registered for the...
Definitely, I'll do
okay, you have registered already. And so we're encouraging all Christians and all Cameroonians to go in for the elections. And Father Alphonse has given us his words today. Let us give it a try. We know there's a moral arm into Elecam this time around, and we hope something better. And that was what we had for you on the 7 Days in Focus this evening. So it was an interesting panel today with Father Christian Shanwe and Father Augustine Awimo from the Archdiocese of Bamenda, and Father Alphonse Wongibe here. Father Augustine Awimo, any last word for our viewers tonight?
Well, I just want to express my happiness to be part of this program and to encourage the viewers and all those who are watching DMRA TV that they should continue to enjoy this moving and life-giving radio and TV station, because it gives life to the people. They know more about the church, not only about the church, but about the country and the world at large.
Thank you very much, Father Awimo. We're happy for your presence here, and we hope next time you come again. Anytime you find yourself in Boya. Father Alphonse, any last word for our viewers?
The last word for our viewers, keep praying for our deacons. The church in Boya is very, very proud. There are 7 people have joined the clerical state, and for me it's very wonderful. Keep praying for them. As a song they normally sing for diaconal ordinations, you have been made faithful deacons. And when Asabi sings, you have been raised to the order of deacons, remain faithful deacons. So that's my wish for them and for our viewers to keep praying for these 7 men that were honored to the order of the diaconate.
Thank you, Father Alphonse Wongibe, our correspondent here at DMR TV and the director of programs at the DMR TV.
Second deputy in charge of programs. I'm not director.
Father Christian Shani, any last word for our viewers?
Oh yeah, of course. One thing I've realized is that this channel, the programs here is accessible to everybody, even those in the grassroots, those in the suburbs. They have the opportunity to watch this channel. Just to thank the bishop and the team for all what they do, so that those who are in the suburbs, they can update themselves with the recent happenings of the church in our diocese, in the province, and the world at large. So just to thank people for the work people do, and that God should continue to bless people.
Thank you very much for that, Christian Shanwi. And for general supervision this evening, it came from the station manager, Madam Joyce Bong, and technically assisted this evening by Betwell. And for your host, I have been Father Roderick Yangsi. Stay tuned to DMR TV for many more interesting programs. For now, it is a bye-bye.